Shortly after hearing his fate, former Bosnian Croat military chief Slobodan Praljak shouted, "I am not a war criminal," and lifted a vial of liquid to his lips. He tilted his head back and swallowed. A short time later, he told the confused court, and the judge who had affirmed his 20-year sentence for murdering Muslims and other war crimes, "I just drank poison." His death was reported by Croatian state TV later on Wednesday. It was a defiant final act for the 72-year-old accused of ethnic cleansing 2 decades ago in a failed attempt to create a Bosnian Croat mini-state, according to the Associated Press. The appeal of Praljak was one of the final matters for the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. Praljak was accused of using violence and murder to drive out Muslims. Praljak facilitated the murder of Muslims who did not belong to any armed force, and the destruction of property in Stepnadu in October 1993, according to the United Nations. He was indicted in March 2004 and pleaded not guilty a month later. But on May 29, 2013, he was found guilty of all charges. The appeal was the only thing standing between Praljak and possibly spending the rest of his life in prison. The tribunal is expected to conclude next month. For now, it is suspended as questions swirl around Praljak's actions, including what he swallowed and how he was able to sneak it into a war tribunal. Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković told Reuters he regretted Praljak's death. His act, which we regrettably saw today, mostly speaks about a deep moral injustice towards 6 Croats from Bosnia and the Croatian people. We voice dissatisfaction and regret about the verdict, Plenković said. A series of 4 video stills shows Praljak drinking what he claimed was poison. International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia Epaferex Shutterstock. Praljak was one of the leaders of a group that sought to form a Greater Croatia during the 199,295 war in Bosnia, according to the Financial Times. Prosecutors said he helped destroy the iconic 16th-century bridge in the Bosnian city of Mostar in November 1993, according to Newsweek. He also facilitated and concealed his armed forces' killing of Muslim civilians, including victims of the Stepnadu massacre. According to the Washington Post's David Ottaway, more than 36 civilians in the Bosnian mountain village of Stepnadu were killed by Bosnian Croat militiamen from the nearby town of Bers, allegedly seeking revenge for the loss of another hamlet to Muslim forces. Ralph Wekesar, an international peacekeeping monitor who got to the village days after the attack, found a scene of complete destruction, according to the tribunal's findings, with the houses still smoldering and about 20 bodies burnt beyond recognition, some of them the bodies of children. There were no indications of fighting. UN forces that arrived shortly afterward were disgusted by the Croat soldiers' actions. "Those who did this are not soldiers, they are scum." Brig. Angus Ramsey, the chief of staff of the UN Protection Force in Bosnia, told Ottaway and other reporters, "This is not war. This is a war crime. Those who have done this thing will one day answer for it." Praljak had maintained that Croatian forces had no role in the Bosnian wars and rejected prosecutors' arguments that he had been involved in the destruction of the bridge at Mostar and the Stepnadu massacre. The tribunal disagreed, finding Praljak and others culpable. According to the AP, the tribunal, which last week convicted former Bosnian Serb military chief Gen. Ratko Mladic of genocide and other crimes, was set up in 1993, while fighting still raged in the former Yugoslavia. It indicted 161 suspects and convicted 90 of them. The appeals judges upheld a key finding that late Croat President Franjo Tuđman was a member of a plan to create a Croat mini-state in Bosnia. A decade's worth of hearings was a reminder of the complex web of ethnic tensions that fueled fighting in Bosnia, the AP reported. Those tensions continue to create friction today. The tribunal overturned some of the convictions related to him, but the heaviest ones remained, along with the 20-year sentence, and the shame of being branded a war criminal. Read more what the parasites in a defector stomach tell us about North Korea. Police thought a skydiver died in an accident, until they saw his final message to his wife. His Asperger's video was inspiring. His death by police was nonsensical, a lawsuit says.